The following podcast is scheduled for one fall. I'm your reigning, defending, undisputed host, Sexy Thor, and this is episode 13 of The Ring of Thunder. And we start off with Raw, and holy shit, the sky must be falling because we actually have a live crowd. Not of fans, regular Joes and all that, but of NXT superstars and Performance Center athletes. You had Shotzi Blackheart, the awesome green-haired punk rocker who drives tanks, wearing a Becky Lynch shirt, so she keeps being more and more awesome. Aaliyah was there wearing the same Becky shirt, so I personally advocate for Robert Stone to sign her to his brand. She's clearly on a good path. Other superstars were there, all wearing shirts of Raw superstars like Jessamyn Duke of the Four Horsewomen of MMA with the Kevin Owens shirt. And also this was the first television sighting of Simone Johnson, The Rock's daughter, since she was signed on some months ago. I know there will be some people shitting on them waiting so long to put athletes in the crowd, but whatever, dude, I'm glad it's here. The show started off with the KO show, with the guests being Asuka along with the three women of who will face each other in a triple threat for the chance to face Asuka at Backlash. Charlotte Flair, Natalya, and Nia Jax. Natalya apologized for last week's temper tantrum, and of course eventually all hell broke loose. Next up, Apollo Crews defeated Andrade to become the new United States champion. Stone Mountain stand up! And right before the match concluded, we switched to Angel Garza watching the match and being asked for his thoughts on it, and he just described why the match is like making love to a beautiful woman. Alright then. Seth Rollins sent out a message of thanks to Rey Mysterio and officially introduced Austin Theory as part of his group ahead of Theory and Murphy's tag match against Aleister Black and Humberto Carrillo. The Iconics came out and apologized to each other for last week and called Nikki Cross a crazy lady and Alexa the Office's favorite blonde. Alright, and right on cue, Alexa and Nikki came out, and Nikki gave a hella passionate promo about her scratching and clawing her way to WWE with nothing, and how Alexa helped her focus and get to the next level, and a brawl broke out, and the Iconics channeled their inner Gallows and Anderson and hit Nikki with the Magic Killer and stood tall. For now. The new MVP Lounge had Drew McIntyre as the guest, who MVP introduced as the soon-to-be former WWE champion. And despite MVP's assurances that Bobby Lashley won't ambush Drew, Lashley came out so Drew claymored MVP and chased them off. Angel Garza defeated Kevin Owens thanks to Angel injuring Owens with a perfectly placed chop block before the match even began. So that's something salvaged from tonight for Zelina Vega and her remaining crew. The Street Profits and the Viking Raiders went head-to-head in golf this time. They got kicked out of the first golf course they went to because of the chaos and turkey legs that were going on. Then they went to a mini golf place with gators, and they were allowed to stay because the manager thought Ivar was cute. Eric, not so much. We're still doing this. The game ended with the Street Profits getting 28 and the Viking Raiders getting 144, which of course they thought they won, but the Street Profits corrected them on that. In golf, the object is to get the lower score. Then there was something about pulling a red Solo Cup and turkey leg out of a hole like it was the entry portal to Looney Tunes land. And Ivar almost fought a gator. Austin Theory and Murphy defeated Humberto Carrillo and Aleister Black surprisingly clean, and almost sacrificed Humberto and his eye like they did Rey Mysterio, but Seth got Aleister to back off. Edge cut a promo in a darkish room addressing Randy Orton and gave him props for the Backlash challenge that had Edge doubting his wrestling abilities, because Edge had been retired for 3,212 days, and in that time Randy competed in 1,126 matches. He did the math. Now Edge has to prove himself to himself and really dig down deep after reflecting on everything he's done in his career and who he's competed against, and see if he can do any one of those things anymore. The Viking Raiders challenged the Street Profits to bowling for next week, and MVP and Bobby Lashley challenged them for tonight after Angelo Dawkins trolled MVP about getting claymored. Nia Jax defeated Natalya and Charlotte Flair to punch her ticket to Backlash to face Asuka for the Raw Women's Championship. Drew McIntyre was on his way out when he was informed Bobby Lashley and MVP have a tag match against the Street Profits. Then by some fortune, he happened to forget something. R-Truth finally realized that Gronk, not Tom Brady, is the 24/7 champion, and Gronk actually came back with his own promo in his gym telling Truth he's ready for him, and that he has eyes in the back of his head as well. And to prove it, he put his sunglasses as over his back-headed eyes, which I don't think helps him at all, but alright. Ric Flair came on briefly to share his pick for the Edge versus Randy Orton match, and of course, his pick is his old Evolution stablemate, Randy Orton. Street Profits versus Bobby Lashley and MVP ended in disqualification when Lashley, not a legal man, put Montez Ford in the full Nelson submission all the way past the 5 count. Drew McIntyre came out right on cue, and they brawled while the ref kept sending out more and more trainees from the audience to separate them, which they were successful at eventually.
You have 30 seconds to describe Thunder Talk.
It's pop culture.
With a twist.
It's music.
LGBTQ+.
And comedy.
Well, dark comedy.
It's nerd junk.
It's comic books.
Video games.
Conventions.
Yeah, nerd junk.
And social commentary.
It's woke, yo.
Yeah, and nerd junk.
Woke nerd junk.
Thunder Talk is all over the place.
Every place you want to be.
Thunder Talk is a proud member of the ESO Network. Find us at thundertalk.org and download us on all podcast platforms.
On Impact, Ace Austin defeated Hernandez to move on to the May Madness Finals. Cody Deaner was on the side of the road drinking a beer because he's outdoorsy like that, and he yelled at a passing motorcyclist saying, "This ain't no boneyard. Ha ha." Chris Bay defeated Cousin Jake with the help of Johnny Swinger, then they started stomping on him until Willie Mack chased them away. Bay was trying to send a message to Willie, and it was heard loud and clear. Then Havoc and Kimber Lee rematch ended in disqualification when Kimber Lee got some brass knuckles again. Then Nevaeh came in and stopped her, and the match got thrown out. Nevaeh and Havoc worked in tandem to give Kimber Lee one last slam before they left. Kiera Hogan and Tasha Steelz ganged up on Kylie Ray, and when Susie told them to stop, Kylie and Susie both got beat up, and Susie started to slip back into her Undead Realm Su Yung personality. The North defended the tag titles at the Deaner compound against Cody Deaner and his relative Wheels. The North knocked out the ref right before Cody got the 1-2-3, but Wheels was coming to the rescue until the North's ref hit him in the balls and did a quick 3 count. Then the North were chased off the compound. The Rascals will go head-to-head with TJP and Fallah Bahh next week for #1 contendership for the Impact tag titles. We got a video promo from one of the new signees to Impact, Deonna Purrazzo. Awesome to see her again after all the releases from WWE last month. In an incredible upset, Trey defeated Michael Elgin in an incredible match, with the turning point being when Sami Callihan turned off the lights and flashed his ICU logo, making Elgin take his eye off the ball.
Hello. Have you ever wondered how much Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster sold Superman's rights to DC for? Or which popular football star was the Sam Wilson the Falcons' physical appearance based on? You can find all that and more at the History of Comic Books podcast, a podcast dedicated to the creators, events, history, and the companies that made the great comic book medium. Hosted and created by your friendly neighborhood JT Wheatley. Please give it a listen at iTunes, Spreaker, Stitcher, and all our podcasting platforms. Thank you, and go ahead and enjoy yourself a good comic book.
NXT started off with the triple threat between Drake Maverick, Kushida, and Jake Atlas to determine who goes to the NXT Cruiserweight Championship match, and wouldn't you know it, Drake Maverick got the pin by draping his arm across Jake Atlas's chest, who was laying on his back getting his arm ripped off by Kushida. Jake Atlas did start tapping out when the ref was at 2, but the ref's decision is final. Maverick shook hands with El Hijo del Fantasma, and the Cinderella story continues. Johnny Gargano defeated Adrian Alanis in the first Johnny Gargano Invitational. Then he and Candice got to see a little video of Mia Yim and Keith Lee doing an amazing dinner at the Gargano's parody, and having their dinner be a pizza from Gargano's Pizza, Johnny's family's real pizza place. delivered by Candace's former best friend Tegan Knox, who ended up eating all but 2 slices, and she took one of those slices to go. This program just gets better and better. Then in an interview with Drake Maverick, Kushida interrupted to tell him he better win, and Drake says when he gets the Cruiserweight title, Kushida definitely gets the first shot. Shotzi Blackheart went head-to-head with Raquel Gonzalez, and a ways into it, Dakota Kai hopped into Shotzi's tank trying to be a distraction, when Tegan Knox chased her out and equaled things up for a while until Candice LeRae came out and got in Tegan's face about what happened with Keith Lee and Mia Yim's parody, which allowed Kai to interfere when the ref was focused on Tegan and Candice, and Raquel got the 1-2-3 in the win. Such a multi-layered match story-wise, goodness. Rhea Ripley and Io Shirai versus Charlotte Flair and a mystery partner, which turned out to be Chelsea Green, who seemed like maybe she was going to be the one to eat a pin, but actually Charlotte got a dirty pin with her legs on the rope on Io Shirai after she made Io knock Rhea off the apron. And then because Chelsea won in a tag match, she didn't get the pin though. She still got the win technically, so she fired Robert Stone. Alright. A livid Johnny Gargano and Candice LeRae laid down some challenges. Johnny challenged Keith Lee for the North American title at In Your House, and Candice challenged Mia for next week, and she ended by saying, "And Tegan, you should be ashamed of yourself." In what few might call a negotiation, Adam Cole and General Manager William Regal agreed on having Velveteen Dream challenge for the NXT Championship again at In Your House, and if Dream loses, he can't challenge for the championship again while Cole is champion. Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch met up to agree they need to take those tag titles off of Imperium ASAP. Tommaso Ciampa creamed Leon Ruff while Scarlett came out to watch, and after Ciampa won, he and Scarlett had a stare down. I mean, really, they just had a stare down the whole damn match, and Karrion Kross showed up on the video screen with a warning. In the first ever NXT Fight Pit, Matt Riddle and Timothy Thatcher fought in a straight-up cage with no ropes or turnbuckles, so it's not a regular steel cage match. Refereed by Kurt Angle, who had the misfortune of putting away some teeth. When Thatcher got hit so hard, he had a bloody mouth and lost a couple of teeth, but Thatcher ended up putting Riddle to sleep and winning by technical submission. On AEW Dark, Dustin Rhodes and QT Marshall, aka the Natural Nightmares, defeated Alex Reynolds and John Silver of the Dark Order, but not before Allie, aka the Bunny, in The Butcher, the Blade, and the Bunny, because I think that's still a thing, maybe, was in the audience in a red dress eating a green apple and clearly had QT's attention because he loves apples. Brandy Rhodes had to get him refocused, and they ended up with the win. But this story is far from over. Michael Nakazawa defeated Brandon Cutler by countout, which was more Cutler's fault, kicking Nakazawa's ass outside the ring, then throwing him in at the count of 9, and he himself didn't get in the ring in time. Afterwards, the librarian, Peter Avalon, came out to troll him because Cutler doesn't have any wins in AEW, neither does Avalon. Then Cutler went to commentary, while Avalon took on Jungle Boy. Jungle Boy got that win by submission after a thwarted attempt by Avalon's aide, Leva Bates, to give him a book to use as a weapon, as she was picked up off the apron by Luchasaurus, and Marco Stunt did a lip lock on her, some would call a kiss. It's technical innovation, I'm sure. Christopher Daniels defeated Serpentico. Joey Janela and Sonny Kiss defeated John Schuyler and Brady Pierce. Kip Sabian and Jimmy Havoc defeated Tony Donati and Fabu Andre. Wardlow defeated Mr. Grimm, or maybe just Grimm, by knockout with a devastating knee strike. Then Wardlow gave Grimm an F10. Colt Cabana defeated Lee Johnson. Penelope Ford defeated Kylin King. Best Friends defeated Shawn Dean and Alan Angels. This AEW Dark is starting to include a lot more story and more than just a couple of dark matches of established stars defeating jobbers like that. Pretty cool. Dynamite, OG Matt Hardy, like pre-Team Extreme, like pre-WWF, and the Young Bucks defeated Joey Janela and Private Party, and afterwards Matt Hardy escorted an injured Mark Quinn of Private Party to the back. Then the Butcher and Blade attacked the Young Bucks, but Bunny was still in the audience with QT. Interesting. a truck pulled up and out came Dash Wilder and Scott Dawson. Actually, at least one of them is under new names. Like, I think Dash Wilder is now called Cash Wheeler or something. They're no longer the Revival. They're FTR, which I think stands for Fear the Revolt, Fuck the Rest, something or like that. They looked like they were going to attack the Bucks, but they turned and attacked Butcher and Blade and chased them off. They had a brief stare down with the Bucks and then left. Brian Cage destroyed Lee Johnson while Jon Moxley was on commentary. Then Taz let him know that Cage is challenging him for the AEW title at Fyter Fest, which is to be determined. All we do know is All Out is September 5th. So if my Labor Day weekend plans go sideways, I personally have the Avengers game and All Out. Life finds a way. Also, the Natural Nightmares were on the babyface side of the crowd, and Allie was with them, flirting back and forth with QT Marshall, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. This is why you should watch AEW Dark, folks. Dr. Britt Baker came out in a wheelchair and presented a pretty striking case detailing a conspiracy to injure her by Chris Statlander, Hikaru Shida, and Nyla Rose, with referee Aubrey Edwards as the mastermind. Because Aubrey was there for most of her injuries, and for her broken nose, she was somewhere in the building. She said then that she'll be back for All Out, so the joke is on us. Such a role model. That's ROLL. Literally, it was written on the back of her wheelchair. Alex Marvez were interviewing the Inner Circle about tonight's pep rally with more Jericho's Shut Your Ass. And while Jericho was talking, Orange Cassidy walked by and everybody just stopped talking. I just have this need to see Orange Cassidy show up in like Rick and Morty or something as a guest star. Dunno, it's just, I believe he just belongs in Adult Swim somewhere. Then Hikaru Shida defeated Christy James with a Falcon Arrow. Cody declared he will defend his TNT Championship in an open challenge every week, obviously around the winner of tonight's Battle Royal, who will challenge him next week. But this is how you book a secondary title, people. Just saying. Cough, Intercontinental. Cough, United States. QT Marshall was still paying more attention to Allie, which was aggravating Brandy more and more. But Cody seemed rather encouraging, though, before he left the ring. Kip Sabian and Jimmy Havoc defeated SCU thanks to Penelope Ford holding Frankie Kazarian's foot to prevent him from coming to Scorpio Sky's aid and doing the SCU later. They will have a tag title shot against Kenny Omega and Hangman Page next week, which is what I thought Best Friends won at the Double or Nothing buy-in, but apparently that gets them to a title shot at Fyter Fest. Again, TBD. Despite being jumped by Santana and Ortiz at the very beginning, Orange Cassidy made it to the final two in the Battle Royal after working with Jungle Boy to eliminate MJF and Wardlow. And then Jungle Boy eliminates Orange and will face Cody next week for the TNT Championship. The Inner Circle was introduced in their pep rally and gave out the shirts that say they won the Stadium Stampede. They gave gifts to each other, and when Sammy Guevara asked Jericho what he wanted, Jericho said he wants Mike Tyson's head on a platter for double-crossing him on Monday Night Raw 10 years ago. Mike Tyson and his crew came out and a big-ass brawl broke out that involved literally everyone to break it up. Honestly, probably everyone but QT and Allie. They probably dipped out and went to go eat apples till sunrise. That sounds pretty dope. Just chilling and eating apples while Jericho yells, "Tyson! Tyson! Tyson!" Seriously, he was doing it like that.
Did you ever wonder why there are 24-hour kid networks? In my book, The Best Saturdays of Our Lives, I write about how Saturday morning became a competitive business and the proving ground for what would become the 24-hour kid network. My book covers the big bang of the 1960s explosion of high ratings to the early digital age of Saturday morning's last hurrah, the 1990s. You can purchase my book by going to thebestsaturdaysofourlives.com, and I will ship you a signed copy.
On NXT UK, it was a Hidden Gems episode with NXT UK superstars going head-to-head with stars from across the pond. The first was a taping on March 7th, 2020 of Finn Balor defeating Kenny Williams while Balor was on the hunt for Walter. He's still on that hunt, BT Dubs. The next was Rhea Ripley defeating Nina Samuels on October 5th, 2019, in her last match at NXT UK before she came to Orlando and gave the NXT Women's Division, I wouldn't say much needed, but it most definitely helped, but a good shot in the arm. Last summer during the Download Festival tapings, Killian Dane took on Travis Banks when Dane was reacclimating himself back in NXT land, and of course he hit Banks with a Vader Bomb and got the 1-2-3. Finally, that July, there was a 6-man tag match between the grizzled young veterans when they were NXT UK Tag Team Champions and Joseph Connors versus the Street Profits, who were the NXT Tag Team Champions at the time, and Matt Riddle, which is one of the most brilliant teams I believe I've ever seen, and it ended with Matt Riddle hitting Connors with a Bro Derek and getting the pin. On SmackDown, we started outside the Performance Center, where we learn Elias has been seriously injured by a hit and run with a rental car registered to Jeff Hardy and half-empty bottles of alcohol in it. Hardy was found hurting and in a daze in some bushes nearby and was taken into custody. And Jason Jordan made his first appearance on WWE television in like 526 years. This was highly uncomfortable in a way that maybe kind of exploits a serious situation like Drake Maverick's maybe work of a release video, or infidelity, or a family member's suicide, like what happened between Charlotte and Paige feud a few years ago. Not the necessary uncomfortable like waking up to social injustice uncomfortable, but let's see where this takes us. If Hardy's fine with, using his IRL problems as an angle, then, fuck it, okay. We'll go with it. And after much deliberation amongst the men's locker room, it was decided that there will be a battle royal to determine who will face Daniel Bryan in the semifinals, while AJ Styles opted to take a bye round and go straight to the Intercontinental Championship final match. This cleared things up plenty with my confusion last week on where AJ stands. Definitely still a heel. Sheamus won the Battle Royal after an epic apron battle with Jey Uso and finds himself back in the IC title tournament. During the Battle Royal, Shorty G eliminated Cesaro and Nakamura, and while the refs were busy with Nakamura, Cesaro came back in and eliminated Shorty G, but the refs didn't see it done illegally, so Shorty was just eliminated too. So Shorty G confronted him. Cesaro made yet another joke, so Shorty slapped him in the face and pushed him to the ground, and we got to match. Following a little Twitter feud this past week, Lacey Evans and Sonya Deville had a match that ended in a double countout, so it's not over there. The New Day were on a moment of bliss and were interrupted by Bayley and Sasha Banks, who said they could win those women's tag titles right back if they wanted, and Bayley volunteered Sasha to take on Alexa like she does, so Alexa said, "Alright, let's get a ref out here," and threw Sasha's jacket right back at her and hit her with a drop kick. Sasha did end up winning thanks to some Bayley interference when Alexa was going to hit a Twisted Bliss and a surprise roll-up, but Nikki definitely won the commentary wars and Alexa did do things. So whoever makes, crude and kind of sexist metaphors to compare her in-ring work can kiss all of my ass. Shorty G defeated Cesaro by reversing Cesaro's powerbomb into a surprise roll-up. So that's 2 now. Simon Miller's not gonna be happy. Mandy and Otis got some poolside alone time, and Otis went to go take a dip in the pool while Mandy took a nap, and it literally went total fast times at Ridgemont High. And Otis was Phoebe Cates. What a world we live in. To heighten any existing emotions, Kurt Angle announced the newest member of SmackDown, the original bro, Matt Riddle. Yes. Daniel Bryan defeated Sheamus with a flying knee to move on to a new IC title match against AJ Styles after a newly exonerated Jeff Hardy came out to ringside to distract Sheamus. And on 205 Live, Tony Nese defeated Tyler Breeze, and Shotzi Blackheart's facepalm afterwards is most definitely a mood. And in a stunning upset, Tahuti Miles defeated Danny Burch for his biggest win yet, and maybe even his only win so far in WWE? Very interesting. And that's the 1, 2, 3. Thanks for locking up with me in the Ring of Thunder. Kick butts, not nuts.